I never thought a single mistake or a single act of courage could completely alter the course of my life. Yet here I was, standing in the grand throne room of an alien civilization, the air heavy with scentless pheromones and the faint hum of energy fields pulsing through the walls. My hands still tremble from the ordeal that had brought me here. Moments ago, I had performed a surgical procedure I never imagined I would ever attempt. Not on a human, but on a princess from a species so alien I could hardly recognize her as anything but royalty. And now, by decree of the alien queen herself, I was being summoned for a reason I had only begun to comprehend. I was to become her daughter's consort. The throne room was vast, a cathedral of light and crystal. Massive, translucent columns spiraled toward the ceiling, catching the ambient energy and refracting it into intricate patterns across the polished floor. The walls were adorned with tapestries that seemed alive, depicting battles, alliances, and ceremonies from eons past. Every step I took echoed unnaturally. The architecture amplified sound in ways that made the room feel alive. At the far end of the hall, elevated upon a dais of white crystalline stone, sat the alien queen. She was unlike any depiction I had ever seen, even in science fiction or exobiology texts. Her skin shimmered with pearlescent glow, her eyes a shifting kaleidoscope of colors, her form both humanoid and impossibly elegant in its alien symmetry. The queen's gaze met mine, sharp and unwavering. "You have saved my daughter," she said, her voice resonating both in sound and in some subtle psychic undertone that sent vibrations through my chest. Such a feat cannot go unacknowledged, nor can it remain without consequence. I swallowed hard. And my lady, I only did what anyone with medical training would have done. The princess, she was in critical condition. She might have... "You risked more than her life," the queen interrupted, rising to her full, awe-inspiring height. "You risked your own life, your very essence, in a species realm foreign to you. And now, by the ancient customs of our people, you are bound to her." Bound. The word hammered through my mind. I had saved the princess from certain death. I had held her fragile, quivering form in my hands as I stabilized her alien physiology. And now, the consequence of that act, an ancient tradition I had never even known existed, demanded a bond one was completely unprepared for. I don't understand. I stammered. "Consort? I'm human. I don't belong here." The queen's lips curved, almost imperceptibly. "Belonging is not always a matter of birth. It is a matter of action. You acted when none of ours dared to intervene. You were brave when our soldiers hesitated. And bravery, in the service of the princess, is the highest virtue." She raised her hand, and the princess appeared beside her, still weak, her movements delicate and hesitant. Her skin shimmered with the soft glow of recovery, and her eyes, large and luminescent, focused on me with an intensity one couldn't describe. There was gratitude there, yes, but also something more, something that whispered a curiosity of expectation. I didn't mean to. I began. "You did what was required," the princess said softly, her voice a melodic combination of tones I could barely parse. "And now, the bond is inevitable. By our law, those who save the blood of our line must be honored by proximity, by commitment. You will be my consort." The words hit me like a tidal wave. Consort as in married? I asked, my voice barely more than a whisper. The Queen's eyes glimmered. Yes, though not marriage in the human sense. A union sanctioned by blood and honor, by duty and protection. You are now part of her life in ways you cannot refuse. I felt my knees weaken. Every instinct in me screamed to run, to escape back to Earth, back to everything familiar and safe. Yet I could not deny the strange pull I felt toward the princess, an inexplicable bond forged through fear, desperation, and the fragile intimacy of life saved. The Queen gestured for me to approach. Each step forward felt surreal, the polished floor reflecting not only my own image, but the ghostly shimmer of countless alien onlookers observing from unseen galleries. I stopped before the princess, unsure what to do, unsure what was expected. "Do you accept this bond?" the Queen asked. I hesitated, swallowing down the panic, the disbelief, and the fear. I will do my best," I said finally, "for her life, for whatever this bond means." The Queen inclined her head. "It is enough. For now." The princess reached out a delicate hand, brushing her fingers against mine. The sensation was unlike any human touch. Cool, almost liquid in texture, and yet oddly comforting. I could feel her heart beat through her skin, her nervous energy, her cautious hope. I nodded, silently pledging myself to the unknown path that awaited. The days that followed were surreal. I was escorted to the royal quarters, a sprawling suite of chambers that seemed designed for beings who existed partially in dimensions I could barely perceive. The air hummed with latent energy, and the furniture appeared alive, adjusting to comfort rather than function. My quarters were modest by comparison, but elegant nonetheless. The princess, whom I now address as Elora, was recovering steadily, though she remained fragile. Our interactions were formal at first, ceremonial even, dictated by court protocol. Yet there was a subtle warmth growing between us. Through shared meals, through quiet walks along the garden terraces, through the long hours I spent monitoring her recovery, I learned quickly that Elora was not just a princess, but a scholar, a strategist, a diplomat in training. Her intelligence was sharp, her curiosity insatiable, and her humor strange, otherworldly, but endearing. Despite the cultural gulf between us, despite the inherent danger of missteps in her court, we began to communicate in small, human-like ways, gestures, expressions, attempts at shared humor. It was during one of these walks that the first real danger revealed itself. A faction within the court, resentful of human interference, had begun plotting against Elora. Their motives were political, control of succession, fear of alien influence, but their methods were deadly. Poison, sabotage, and assassination were whispered in corridors I could not fully understand. I was unarmed, untrained in the ways of alien politics and warfare, yet I had been brought into this world by fate. It was up to me to protect her, to navigate a treacherous web of intrigue with nothing but my wits, human intuition, and medical expertise. The first attempt on her life came during a ceremonial banquet. As she raised a glass of ceremonial fluid, a glowing liquid that shimmered like liquid starlight, I noticed a faint shimmer around the rim, a subtle anomaly in its molecular structure. Years of chemistry and medical training kicked in. I acted quickly, spilling the fluid onto a tray and replacing it with a safe sample I had prepared, all under the casual observation of court nobles who suspected nothing. Elora's eyes met mine, gratitude and a hint of awe in her gaze. "You truly belong here," she whispered later, in the quiet of her chambers. I shook my head. I belong nowhere but wherever I'm needed. And right now, that's here with you. The bond, I realized, was growing beyond duty, beyond obligation. It was becoming something real, something neither of us could fully name. And yet, the dangers continued to mount. The Queen summoned me for the first formal audience after the assassination attempt. Her eyes were sharper, colder, her presence commanding. You have proven yourself, she said, but the role you now play is not merely that of a healer. You are protector, consort, and, if you survive, the advisor. The fate of my bloodline rests partially in your hands. I bowed, feeling the weight of her expectations pressed down like gravity. I will not fail, I said, though every instinct in me screamed that failure was a constant, looming possibility. Weeks turned into months. I learned the rhythms of the court, the subtleties of alien etiquette, the delicate balance of power and influence. And in the midst of it all, my bond with Elora deepened. We trained together, strategized together, and shared quiet moments where our differences fell away, leaving only understanding and trust. One night, under the twin moons of her world, Elora took my hand as we walked the terraces. The air was electric, filled with bioluminescent plants that pulsed gently beneath our feet. Do you ever wonder, she asked, her voice soft, what it would be like if you had never arrived? I squeezed her hand. I'd like to think the universe would have found another way, but I also think I was always meant to be here with you. Her gaze held mine, unflinching, and in that moment, I understood that this alien world, with all its strangeness, its beauty, and its peril, had become home, not by birth, but by choice. The climax came when the rival faction made their final move. They stormed the palace during a ceremony celebrating Elora's recovery, intending to seize the throne and eliminate her entirely. I fought alongside the palace guards, using a combination of human ingenuity, improvised tactics, and knowledge of alien physiology to turn the tide. Elora, fierce and commanding, coordinated the defense with astonishing skill. Together, we survived the night, the conspirators defeated and her rule secure. The aftermath was a quiet, solemn ceremony. The Queen, proud and serene, addressed us both. By your courage, your loyalty, and your bond, you have honored my line. You have proven that love and duty can transcend worlds. From this day forward, you are recognized not only as a princess's consort, but as her partner in all things. Elora turned to me, her eyes soft yet determined. Are you ready? She asked. I took a deep breath, feeling the weight of the past months, of the bond forged in fear, hope, and trust. I am, I said, and in that moment, I understood that home was no longer a place. It was her, and the life we would build together in a world I had never imagined, bound by choice, courage, and love. The Queen inclined her head once more, and the crowd bowed. I squeezed Elora's hand. The galaxy outside our walls was vast and unknown, but together we would face it all.